Hello, you're watching Midday Live. My name is middayLive. A quick look at what we have for you this afternoon. And as Ghana joins the rest of the world to mark World Water Day, we will examine how easily accessible the commodity is. And so there in your shots, Ghana joins the rest of the world to mark the World Water Day, and we will definitely examine how easy and accessible that very commodity is. More this afternoon, experts in education call for inclusive policy to improve reading habits of persons with visual impairment. On the foreign front, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development says China needs a renewed reform momentum to sustain long-term growth. Buckle up. I hope you do enjoy Midday Live. Do stay with me. So we start with our stories now. When poor reading habits among school children, particularly those with visual impairment, is a major setback in Ghana's education. Experts in education fear if the inclusive policy on education is not fully implemented, Ghana may not achieve the universal primary education on the Millennium Development Goals.
A research by the Ghana Education Service in 2011 indicates only 23% of learners at primary 3 are proficient in literacy and reading.
This is unacceptably low, and it explains the challenges that we are encountering and the ability of our children to do subjects like mathematics, home economics, and all the other subjects that are presented to them in school. And as I said, literacy is the mother of all knowledge, and therefore if you acquire it, you have the ability to progress.
Studies have also shown that about 85% of persons with disabilities are out of school. This is partly attributed to lack of aided gadgets and learning materials in educational institutions to encourage learning. For instance, persons with visual impairment are handicapped in accessing information because a lot of information is not brailled.
We have to go to the library center and read. We don't have textbooks, so we normally find difficult to read sometimes. If it will be possible, we have to get the newspapers in braille so that we can get more information from it.
It is to address this problem that the Ghana Blind Union, in collaboration with the Ghana Education Service, has launched All Children Reading and Right to Read Literacy project in Accra. The implementation of the project is being sponsored by the Perkins, UNESCO, USAID and other agencies. The Right to Read Literacy project will, among others, promote inclusive education, develop a curricula to train children with disabilities to acquire reading skills and build capacities of teachers. It will also establish 3 inclusive basic schools in 3 districts, namely Tano South, Cape Coast and North Dong. Government is expected to sustain the project after 2 years.
Part of the emphasis of this campaign is to ensure that when government is providing books for children in the sighted schools, then we make sure that if you can provide a reader for a sighted child, you can do the same for a blind child. If you have a library, and the library should be automated, that means that you can have it online as well, then our blind children can also access the books in various formats.
You're still watching Midday Live with me, middayLive. Today is World Water Day. World Water Day is held annually as a means of focusing attention on the importance of fresh water and advocating for the sustainable management of freshwater resources. In 2013, the reflection of the International Year of Water Cooperation, the World Water Day, is also dedicated on the theme cooperation around the world. Here in Ghana, 80% of all diseases are caused by unsafe water and poor sanitation, and more than 9 million people do not have access to safe drinking water. Only around 13% of the population have access to adequate sanitation facilities. 3.4 million people in Ghana lack access to improved water source, and 5,000 children under 5 years die annually from poor water and sanitation in Ghana. I do have in the studio this afternoon Benjamin Latte. He is the Southern Zonal Coordinator of the Ghana Coalition of NGOs in Water and Sanitation. Good afternoon, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Now, issues that has to do with access to potable drinking water and sanitation is never ending in this country. Now we're talking about fresh water and even how to protect our water bodies, and we still see people dumping refuse in our water bodies. Are we making headway here?
Thank you for the opportunity, but I don't think we are making any headway. We are not making headway because there are 3 reasons. The first reason is the fact that government is not doing much. If government is doing much, we expect that the galamsey activities that are going on along our river banks should have been checked by now. Secondly, if government is doing much, then let's say government putting more money into the production of water, then we know that the issue of access to water would be achieved. Currently, we know in the urban center we have a coverage of about 61%. What happens to the 39%? Is the government will. Then we also know that water companies not being able to, collect all the revenue. That's 50% of the production cost is not recovered. What happens to investment that has been put in this area? Looking at these 3 areas, you think that I don't think that we are making any headway.
And now we see that there are buffer zones around these water bodies. The laws are there. The laws are not being effected. What is wrong?
Well, let me come from 2 angles. Is it that we don't know that these things are being polluted? You see, this year's World Water Day stems on one word: cooperation. And that comes from the fact that if the government is willing and all sectors of the economy is willing, then we can all cooperate. The community must cooperate, the individual in the community must cooperate, because yes, if you are an individual in the community and you don't cooperate, how do you get access to water? Are the chiefs not aware of those polluting these rivers? Are the EPA, the authorities don't do? Is there no enforcement? Why does the police doesn't have the will to arrest these people and prosecute them? What are we talking about? So the issue goes beyond one person, and it's a collective issue. That's why this year's theme is water cooperation, meaning that everybody should cooperate, and like you also have to cooperate like a media agency.
I'm talking to you now and having an interview with you. I guess a lot of people are watching and they will learn from that. But now, talking about cooperation, I'm sure you have gone round and seen what is happening. First, I did talk about the right institutions tracking that and ensuring that we do have safe and potable drinking water. That is one issue I want you to tackle. Second has to do with NGOs like yours. Yes, you have spoken about the role of government and what you think whether government is working or not working, but what are NGOs like yours doing? Have you been able to really create change in this country when it comes to access to potable drinking water and even sanitation in this country?
Yes, I can talk for my organization because the coalition of NGOs in water and sanitation has been in existence for the past 20 years and over. And even recently in LA, we've been able to, prior to the election, we were able to get all the various aspirant MPs coming together to tell the people of LA how they will address their water issues when they are voted into parliament. And that's one of the ways we've done. We've also been using the social accountability tools in various communities, like community scorecards, helping communities and equipping them as to be able to look at what exactly is involved in water production, and then having them to be able to jaw with various water service providers in order to ensure effective service delivery. So those are some of the things we've been doing. And we have also been part of the budget tracking experiences where we've been looking at how much government is voting for water and be able to tell government, look, you're not doing that much, you need to put in more effort. And if you are aware, there's this swap compact where government has promised to give $350 annually for the what's SETA, that means 200 going to water, 100 going to sanitation, and 50 going to hygiene. We have been looking, I'm following this up and trying to find out how much government is putting in. Recently, my organization even came out to the fact that government in the late president's era promised to give 20,000 boreholes, and we've been tracking these things on a yearly basis to find whether it's been done to ensure access to water.
Yes, so you have said a number of things that you're doing, but is that enough?
We know it's not. That is not enough. That is why we are so grateful that we have the platform today, and currently at the Trade Fair site we have our colleague also on the panel trying to discuss the issues of lack of access to potable water on this is very important day so that government will give ears to it. We are also teaming up with various communities. Recently we have a project where my coalition, the Water Research Institute and the GNA is collaborating to educate the people of Wasa-Benfi on the value of water and to be able to see how best they can have the water bodies protected and have fresh water for water production. Those are some of the things we are currently doing.
No, yes, we have spoken about, I did indicate earlier on about tracking of these issues that we have seen and we still have in this country. But if it comes to the law itself, what is making the law ineffective from your very own point of view?
There are three things. One, let's say that EPA is a body to look at environmental protection, but how well are they equipped? That's one of the issues. Let's look at the law enforcement agencies. If they arrest these people who are operating the Galamsey, what happens to them? But
Galamsey is not the only issue. I did talk about people pouring refuse into these various
I was coming to that.
Bodies.
What happens? Then let's also look at illegal connections. People trying to tap for all these things. What has been done? Then the other issue is it right for people to have been dump waste or industrial waste be put into water sources? It's wrong. Are there no various institutions that have been mandated to check all these things? What are they doing? This is where we, as a part of collaboration, when we find these issues, we report it to the appropriate bodies and collaborate with them with evidence of research so that they will be able to address it effectively. So this is some of the things we have been doing.
And we're still seeing a lot more people, even in some parts of rural Ghana, drinking unsafe water. How do we make headway with this? In Greater Accra region, let's not go outside the Greater Accra region. Even in Greater Accra region, we still see people drinking unsafe water. Is this a worry, or we just talk about it? We say we're going to make or give solutions, and then we forget about them. The rest becomes history.
Let me even go on further that there are a lot of schools without even drinking water in the various schools, so that's also an issue for us. And out of 10 schools in Accra, you have only one school that have pipe-borne water. So you ask, what is the source of water for these children? That's a very good question. Then even you talking about Greater Accra, yes, let's go to places like Amasama or Pokwase here, where people drink what we call the chocolate water. The issue is the fact that that is what they have to do it. Who is responsible? Now, like we are talking about, if all these boreholes have been provided, these people will be drinking safe water. Currently, as we speak, the government promises have been providing 4,000 boreholes yearly. Nobody knows which districts are involved, and this is why in our organization we would go to such committee and ask them, go ask your MP whether he's going to Parliament to ask whether you are included. And if you're included, why don't you have the water?
Okay. Mr. Latte, let me hold you here. Now, I do have on the phone line Nana Jumo Sapon. He's the president of Friends of Rivers and Water Bodies. Good afternoon, Nana, and thanks for your time.
Good afternoon, Wendy. How are you?
I'm doing very well, Nana. Today is World Water Day. In Ghana here, from your very own point of view, is it worth celebrating?
Yeah, it's very worth celebrating because it seems Ghanaians think that water is something which can never get finished. So we treat water with careless abandon. It seems in Ghana here, we don't think that water is sensitive, and anything that we do to water can affect the quality and quantity. So it's worth celebrating it. It seems to Ghanaians that we can replace water with any other natural resource, but water is irreplaceable. So it is very, very necessary to celebrate this day, to drum home the idea that the pipe which runs to the water that runs through your pipe, which you are affecting, is the stream and the pond that is around you, and the fish you eat is in the rivers. The food you eat is because of water. Everything about that is about water. So if there is a place that we should celebrate this day, it's Ghana and no other place.
But from
indicate that most of our rivers have been polluted, and the quality of those water is below 50%, which means anytime we treat those water, we are polluting it more, and it can affect our health. We need water for food security. We need water for industry. We need water for water tourism. We need water for hydro. We need water for industry. We need water for everything. That is why we say water is life. And life is not forever. And so far as water has life, if you don't take care of it, it will die.
Okay,
and that is why today is very necessary.
There I come to a point where I would ask you that the environment and human beings, who needs who? Looking at the assessments you've just given, and from your expert point of view, are we really seeing the relevance of the environment as Ghanaians?
I think we are treating the environment with careless abandon, but it will affect us. You know, the environment, when you affect it, the impact comes on you. So the moment we decide that we will change rivers to drains, which becomes gutters, and people throw any kind of waste into it, that is how water feces can go into water, and then we get cholera and get all sort of diseases that we are having. Most of the diseases we have in this country is because we are treating water with careless abundance. It's because we don't think that water is important than any of the natural resources we have. But human being is a moving water. So if you have 70%, you are 70% water, and then the 70% water that you are polluting the water bodies, and it's going into your body. You are a sick person. Most of the diseases we are having, like the kidney infections, some research which is not out yet is indicating that because of the way we treat our water, that's why we are getting some of the diseases. Now,
quickly before I let you go, I did ask Mr. Latte this very question. I'm going to pose the same question to you on the role of NGOs. Yes, government has its own role to play. Individuals have their own role to play. Friends of Rivers and Water Bodies, Nana, you have been at the forefront of this fight against keeping our sanitation healthy and clean, and keeping our water bodies clean. What will you be able to represent, or what have you represented so far? What can you hold on to and say that yes, our NGO has indeed caused this and done this? Because you've been doing this over and over the years.
Thank you very much. We've been doing it over 20-something years, and that is why the first evidence is that you call me, and today maybe I've received more than about 15 calls from various radio stations and other stations asking me to contribute to today. Even more than the water company, more than the government organization, more than the ministry, which duty is to do that. But notwithstanding, we've planted trees along some water bodies in the country. In the eastern region, we have Lampaku. We have the Densu. When you come to Sawan, bamboo, we planted there. When we go to the upper part of the Densu and the bridge, we planted some trees. They are there. When you come to Kumasi, and the left side, we planted some trees. When you go to Tanosu in Bravo, you see the beautiful trees. So for us, we've done our part. But the last but not the least is that if Ghana will move forward, the GCE should enforce the laws. Laws of water should be enforced, and then we can move forward. This year's celebration is cooperation in water. All of us have to cooperate to protect the water. Water protection by all for all. That is what I'll say.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Sanajimo Sapong. He is the president of Friends of Rivers and Water Bodies, and I was looking at the World Water Day with him. But back here in the studio, Mr. Latte, we've spoken about these issues, but for you, what is the way forward? Looking at the theme for this year, I should ask you, in 5 years' time, what would you want to see Ghana when it comes to water and sanitation? How would you want to see Ghana?
In 5 years' time from now, one of the things I want to see in the area of water is adequate investment in the provision of water to every Ghanaian. Secondly, the implementation of the Ghana Water Policy, a beautiful document with beautiful programs and activities. Yet the question is, how much of that document is being implemented? The second aspect is the fact that are the law enforcement agents equipped enough to ensure full compliance of the law? You just heard Nana saying that our body is made up of 70% of water, and until that realization is well understood, then I don't see where we're going from here. Then the last one I would want to say is that, like the theme for this year, effective cooperation from all stakeholders involved in the production of water. I mean, without this, I don't see how far we're going from here.
All right, then. Well, thank you very much. Benjamin Latte is the Southern Zonal Coordinator of Ghana Coalition of NGOs in Water and Sanitation. We're looking at the World Water Day. More on water. And inadequate access to potable water has compelled residents of Manihia in the Ghana West District to resort to drinking from a river. Residents are appealing to individuals and corporate institutions to support in providing them with the precious commodity.
Water sourced from River Densu and channeled through pumps for purification has served residents of Mahia as their only source of drinking water for years. The entire population of about 6,000 depend on this treated water, posing pressure on the facility. This compels others to resort to drinking from the river.
Our problem is the community is more bigger than the points. Therefore, we need more vantage points around so that the people living far from the main point will also have the access to the water, so that they will not go to the untreated water anymore.
Residents lauded efforts of donors. The benefactors, Coca-Cola Company Limited, in partnership with other donors, are committed to provide Ghanaians with clean water through the Replenish Africa initiative by the end of 2015.
The main reason for this partnership is because we are all aware of the serious water situation in some of the rural communities where they do not have access to safe and potable drinking water. So that through this collaborative effort, we'll be able to send water, safe and potable water, to the communities.
Public Affairs and Communications Manager at the Coca-Cola Company, Amabewa, entreated corporate institutions to partner them in providing potable water to deprived communities.
They had waterborne diseases such as Buruli ulcer and guinea worm diarrhea, very prevalent in areas like this. So this has been beneficial to them in reducing significantly the numbers of those diseases. And we also want to shine a light on this project so that other corporates are encouraged to either join the partnership under which this project was constructed, or even set up and step up and set up individual centers under their corporate flags, so that we can spread quickly or scale up such projects and access to water across the country.
You're watching Midday Live. Away from water, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission is meeting the press to explain issues concerning the single spine salary structure. The press briefing comes in the wake of a strike action early on this year by the doctors, which has been followed by teachers and also Tewind. I do have our labor correspondent on the phone line. Hello, Daniel.
Yeah, hello, Wendy.
Now, tell us, what has the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission been focusing on, especially at this press briefing?
Yeah, I believe the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission is basically talking about its achievements and how it has been operated over the years. And basically they have touched on several issues. You look at increase in government wage bill, they also looked at migration to the single spine pay policy, issues around market premium and harmonization of category 2 and 3 allowances. With the migration of public sector workers, the Commission has been able to do 99.70%. That's migrating about 99.70% of public sector workers onto the single spine pay policy, just a minute percentage more to complete this migration. But one central issue that the Commission raised has to do with the increase in government wage bill. That has been a major problem to the Commission, both government and the Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, trying to link wage bill to productivity, as the increasing salaries of public sector workers, and for them to work extremely hard to achieve government revenue, to also help government to generate its revenue. That has been a major issue that the Commission has been raising. Now, before the end of this year, the Commission says it wants to create a system to monitor productivity within the public service. And when you are privy to the government's white paper on the single spine pay policy, I think the last 2 pages of the white paper talks about the need for government or the authorities to develop guidelines for implementation for them to monitor productivity into the public service. And also with the market premium, Wendy, which triggered confusion within the doctors, if you could remember, and I think the teachers too as well. Now, with the market premium, what the commission did was to provide interim market premium to the doctors within the health service, especially those within the health service. But what we have realized is that most of the unions embark on rural strike action, citing the need for them to receive market premium. Now, the commission says it is also developing guidelines which is before cabinet, and cabinet is perusing the documents, and finally will be presented to parliament for them to consider that the implementation of market will become an absolute figure rather than a percentage that most of the unions have been alluding to.
Now, Daniel, away from the market premium, have they touched on anything that has to do with the ongoing strike by the teachers or even TAU?
Yeah, when you look at the details of the market premium was introduced by the commission to attract and maintain on people who don't have enough skills within a particular sector, for instance, within the Ghana Health Service. Now, when you look at the teachers somewhere 2-3 years ago were given retention premium, 15% retention premium. Now, with the market premium, the teachers want to also receive the market premium so that to also maintain them within the education sector. That we will also be having a lot of teachers who will be out of the service, just like what is happening in the medical sector, where you have a lot of people serving outside because of limited salary and because of more, so to speak, bad conditions of service. So the market premium, when you relate that to what the teachers are asking for, they want government to provide them with a market premium so that they could also be maintained within the education sector.
Okay, well, thank you very much indeed, Daniel Opoku. He is our labor correspondent, and he was telling us about the press briefing that is being organized by the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. More on Midday Live. The children undergo surgery as a result of foreign body inhalation weekly at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Consultant surgeon at the Ear and Nose Throat Department, Dr. Emmanuel Kitchener, partly blamed parents for being negligent.
Children between 6 months and 4 years reportedly often swallow or inhale foreign materials. Consultant surgeon at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital revealed the dominant foreign materials swallowed by children are coins, pins and garnets. Since the beginning of 2013, the Ear, Nose and Throat Department of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital records 4 surgeries on children every week as compared to once a month previously.
Basic problem is that children are always exploring the environment. Whatever they pick, they will put it in their mouth, ears or nose. Caregivers do not have enough time for their children. More so, they do not traditionally carry them on their back as our parents used to do, appeasing children who are crying. Sometimes we give them money for biscuit or toffee or other things to be bought by auntie or the caregivers. And obviously, once they hold the coin, they put it in their mouth.
Dr. Kitcher stated foreign materials that are found in adults are dentures. He stated treatment was expensive even though it was covered by the National Health Insurance Scheme, and advised parents to take better care of their wards.
Even NHIS had all the money to pay for all the services. There are very few surgeons on the ground. So we are more or less overtaxing the system. But if the fault is due to lack of care by our modern parents, then we must, as a nation, say, parents, sit up, rise, and keep coins out of the reach of children. Don't feed your children with granules unless they are above 4 or 5 years.
In some other news, 2 Peruvians are standing trial in Oslo City Court in Norway for allegedly stealing crown jewels belonging to the Asante Inotumfo Setu in 2012. The accused persons, one a 44-year-old and a 42-year-old, face a little over 2 years in jail if found guilty. Barrows, one of the accused, is said to have picked the bag containing the crown jewels, while Figueroa is alleged to have been the driver of the operation. An accomplice, Maria Ludena, who is alleged to have been the brain behind the disappearance of the jewels, is in prison custody in Peru. The authorities in Norway are, however, seeking the extradition of Lunenda to Norway to face trial. The court, presided over by God, will be or will rather give its judgment in April. The three had gone to Oslo to work on the day of the crime and went to the airport in Oslo where they saw Otumfuo's delegation. The hotel CCTV footage showed a man leaving the hotel with a suitcase suspected to contain the gold ornaments. We do What Do You Think, and we're still focusing on the teacher strike.
It's day 5. Teachers are still on strike. Today we're finding out from you, what should government do to find a lasting solution to the problems of striking teachers? What do you think?
The government should facilitate any payment of allowances due the teachers. Shouldn't wait for them to go on strike. The students should be affected. I mean, exams is going on and students are writing exams without professional invigilators. It's very bad. So government should be proactive, pay salaries and allowances before teachers go on strike.
If they can go by their word, that will solve the whole problem. My wife is a teacher, and they believe the government is not sincere with them. If the government becomes sincere, he can find solution to the cost of teachers.
I think he should try and meet the teachers. At least negotiations might end up with a lasting solution. So they should try and meet them. I mean, face to face and see what they could come up with.
I think he has to come together with the teachers and know what their actual needs are, what they are actually looking for. He should, take their needs into consideration.
They should sit the teachers down, talk to them what they need. They should give it to them, not just go to the school classroom and go and teach. We will talk to you. No, but they should do what they want for them.
Looking really good. 10 weeks continues being bullish. We'll also be bringing you updates on the forex markets. Not looking too good for the Ghana city. Let's just go for the detail quickly now. And the Joint Association of Ports Transport Union says it will resist attempts to relocate them at home. But Minister of Transport Chifa Akuativo has intervened, calling for a comprehensive assessment of the situation.
Congestions at the Tema port result in delays in doing business there. The Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, GHPA, has taken steps to address the challenge by decongesting the port. One of the target groups is the haulage transport operators, whose parking lots close to the port causes severe congestion. The Joint Association of Ports Transport Union is, however, adamant in relocating to a parcel of land at Pung, which the GPHA has secured for the haulage drivers. They claim the area is without electricity, water and other social amenities, and is also too far from the operational area.
We are being sacked that they have sold out the whole of this place to investors. And then we are wondering whether we are not playing any role to the socio-economic contribution of this country. What we have always advocated for is dialogue. So we've started with Gapua until this thing came. It's the word from the drivers that they will not go. But it took us a lot of time to be able to curtail them from going to the street.
Other speakers at the union thereby say they will resist every attempt to send them away from the business district, insisting it will increase cost of operation. But the Transport Minister, Jifa Akuativo, though admitted the need to decongest the ports to allow for free movement of services, called for restraint.
Whatever we will do to decongest the port, we need the support of everybody. So if there's going to be a conducive atmosphere for them to operate, there's a need to explain it to them, the benefits, so that together we all work in harmony. We have to sit down, discuss and come to an amicable solution.
And I was talking about some concerns raised in the construction industry. Well, the chief executive of Igor Terrano, Eunice Ijoma Aku Ogbungo, has bemoaned the rate at which weak infrastructure works have sprouted across the country. She regretted many construction firms do not engage the services of qualified engineers in the construction process, hence the shoddy work.
The Chief Executive Officer of Yugo Terrano, Eunice Ijoma Aku Ogbugo, was giving a public lecture at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. The civil engineer and alumni of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology lamented the continued loss of lives and the life-threatening injuries through the collapse of weak buildings. She cited lack of qualified engineers in the building industry as one of the primary causes of the execution of low-standard construction work.
We don't just design a building for the sake of designing it, or we don't just mix concrete. The strength of the concrete is determined by the volume of traffic or the volume of people we are expecting in the building. The same for the sub-base and the base and the bitumen, even the kind of aggregates or chippings you use, the quality of the sand, it all varies depending on the expected vehicles on the road or the expected number of people or capacity of the building.
And talking about being bullish and looking good also for some companies and businesses, I'm looking at the 10-week sustenance and gains on the stock exchange being bullish. And I have here this afternoon the usual person we always see is the financial analyst of NDK Asset Management Limited, Yawedu Kwantin, to give us reasons why it has maintained that till the 10th week, and if it's going to continue or we're going to see a change in the trending. That will also be looking at the Ghana City. It's always a pleasure having you here.
Thank you.
All right, let's look at the Ghana City. The Ghana Stock Exchange. Continuously 10 weeks maintaining its gain and even increasing. What really has accounted for this positive trend?
Well, I think there is basically the demand for stocks this year has really caused the prices to move. Even recently I was at a brokerage firm and then we were trying to buy some stocks. We keyed in some what do you call it, bets, and then we could see that there are so many bets lined up, but there are no offers. That's exactly how the market is looking like right now. So that has really caused.
Some of them are pushing at a particular company, or they are just spreading it out?
It's everywhere. It's everywhere, because even so far we have about 20 stocks recording gains from the beginning of the year to now. We have about 20, and then we have just about 5 losing. So we realize that it's not just only 1 or 2, but it spreads across. But then I think mostly it's been the financial stocks that have really done very well. For the past 2 to 3 months, the financial stocks have been very, very good. Even just as at the close of business yesterday, we saw that the financial stock index has reached about 49%.
Why is it because you get more profits from that particular?
Not really per se. But then basically, I think they have been the most profitable, and then they are quite liquid compared to the other industries. Some of them have, most of them have about 60 million shares listed. It's just ideal that most of the investors really want to go to the financial stocks. But then, not being said, and we have other sectors that also have been recording very good appreciations in price. So far this year, the surprising company now is Bob. It's at over 130%
I'm keeping that tip. I would turn my money to there. But let's look at the trend. Is it going to continue?
Well, yeah, it's going to continue, because now it could go even way beyond the mid-year, or even go beyond the third quarter, because looking at the kind of demand we're having for stocks right now, it's really high, and then most of the most of the fund managers are coming in, especially with the pension funds, and then you see that there are a whole lot of pressure on the stock market. Most investors are really coming on board, and then the Ghana Stock Exchange being the best in Africa right now, it's kind of attracting more and more investors into our market.
Then it means we are likely to see more companies going onto the stock market to maybe open their market, say, hey, you can come and invest in this share, you can invest in that share.
Well, so far, I don't know exactly if you're referring to listing, or you're referring to more companies coming in to
listings
trade.
On the market.
Listings. Listings, so far this year, we've not heard of any. So far, we've not heard. We're hoping that the second market for SMEs might come on board this year, so we can see more listings or more avenues. I think most of the reasons why the price has gone up so much this year is because we really don't have much on the market. So the ones that we have, there's so much pressure on them, and then that is really causing the prices to move up.
All right, a quick one before we go. Let's look at the Ghana cedi. It looks like more people are getting into dealing with the dollar, the pound, the euro, and these are some of the reasons that are cited for it's losing so much on the markets. Reasons,
I think there are so many reasons accounting for the decline of the cedi. To me, for the past 3 weeks, we realized that there has been a lot of money in circulation, especially in terms of cedi.
Okay.
There has been a lot of cedis in circulation. That's really caused the cedi to lose some value. And also, demand for the dollar has been really high. I mean, coming from the OMCs, coming from the importers, it's been really high for the past 3 weeks now. So that's really causing the Ghana cedi to fall. As of this morning, it was around 2.37% year to date.
And it's not likely to change again just before we enter the next trading week?
It doesn't look like it's going to really go down.
So it's still going down?
It's really going down, but then it's going down at a much slower pace as it did previously some years ago.
Well, let's hope for the best for the Ghana cedi. Let's work more with our Ghana cedi, even though the dollar and the euro, it's a thing. Well, that'll be it. Thank you so much, Yawedu Krantins, a financial analyst with NDK Asset Management.